Okay everyone, so today I'm going to be looking at the climb again, and I'm going to use this to model to you, and then you are going to use a different picture to write about. However, we are going to do some of our reading skills, our vipers, based on this extract, okay? So it is called The Climb, and it says, "One step at a time," the climber muttered to himself as he ascended the escarpment. The climb had been long and arduous, and he had to be mentally tough to ignore the ache in his legs. Soon, though, he would reach the summit, and all the pain would be worth it. Climbing Europe's tallest mountain had been a dream of his ever since he was a child. Okay, so here are your Vipers questions. So you've got one for each Viper. So I would like you, as your first task, to answer all of these questions, and then we'll go through the answers or possible answers, as we may have different opinions on them. Okay? So hopefully you have done that now. So our first one is for vocab, is to find and copy a word that means difficult. So this is a word that we learned yesterday. So I remember I told you what this word meant, and the word you were looking for is arduous. So arduous means it's very difficult to do and needed a lot of energy to do it. Okay. And then we've got inference. What impression do you get of the climb? Oh, I need to get rid of was. That doesn't quite make sense. And give evidence from the text. So I think the impression that we get of the climb is that it is absolutely exhausting, okay? Because not only were his legs aching, which would be making him tired, and it was the world's tallest mountain, he's going to be climbing for quite a while. So not only would he be physically exhausted, but he also said that it was mentally tough on him. So he would be mentally exhausted as well. So I thought he would be exhausted all round. Okay, then we've got predict. So it says, what do you think made him or her want to do this? So in the text, it gives us a little bit of a clue. It says a dream of his ever since he was a child. So I thought what made him do this was to achieve a goal that he had always dreamed of completing, okay? So that's what I thought because of this little snippet it gave us there. Explain all the pain would be worth it. What impression do we get from this phrase even about the climber? So I thought that this told us that he was determined, okay? So no matter how much pain it caused him, he was going to achieve this goal or achievement no matter what, okay? And then retrieve, where in the world was he? Well, he tells us he's climbing Europe's tallest mountain. So we can assume that he was in Europe. And then summarize, what would the climber need to do to prepare for this, okay? So throughout it tells us that the climb had been long and arduous, okay? It had been mentally tough. It's the world's tallest mountain, okay? So using what I've got, I think that he would have had to build up his endurance. So endurance means the amount of time you can climb for, the amount of incline you can climb up. Okay, so incline means like the steepness of a slope. Okay, so he would have need to build up his endurance to be able to do this long climb. And I also put you might need to learn some survival skills, because I know up in the mountains it can be quite dangerous. So he might have had to learn some basic survival skills just in case something went wrong. Okay, so that is our Vipers done. So today we are going to be looking for expanded noun phrases in your writing. We are not going to be just looking for expanded noun phrases, but that is what we are going to focus on first, okay? So we have got determiner, adjective, noun, preposition, okay? So we are going to use this layout to write our expanded noun phrases. So in your book, I would like you to do this layout. So use the ruler that you've got and do the 4 columns, and then write determiner, adjective, noun, preposition. Okay, so I am going to use this photo. you are going to use a different one that you will see in a second, okay? So remember, a determiner tells us how many of something there are. So the, a, two, some, couple, few, there, he, she. There, he, she are called possessive determiners because they tell us how many of a person there are, but also that that thing belongs to them or is something to do with them. Okay, and we'll see that a little bit later. An adjective, we know, describes something. A noun is the name of a person, a place, an object. And a preposition tells us where something is, okay? Or what it's doing. So, determiner, let's start. So I'm looking at my photo. So what my determiner I'm going to start with is the vast. I'm going to put vast means is an up-leveled version of big, but it means it is absolutely huge. Mountains. Okay? Then I might put in the distance. Okay? Nice and simple like that. Then I'm going to put the grey. Oh, no, I'm not. The is my determiner. So how many I've got? Grey rock. So the grey rock. Underfoot. So that's where it is. It's under my feet. Okay? Then I'm going to put some. So I've got a different determiner this time. So I've got many of this thing. Craggy. So craggy is sometimes used to describe mountains, and it tells us that it's rough, a little bit possibly like gravelly, not very secure, okay? So it's not completely solid. Some craggy peaks. So we know peaks are the tops of the mountains. We learnt that when we did art, okay? When we were drawing mountains with peaks. Above me. Okay. And then we're going to use there as the determiner. So that is a possessive determiner, like I told you. So there, white. So I'm using a colour this time. Coats. So I'm thinking about these mountains here. It looks like they're wearing the snow. So could we describe the snow as their coat? Okay. So I'm using a little bit of personification because we know mountains don't actually wear coats. So we're giving it a character, aren't we? We're making it almost human-like. Their white coats, could they wrap around or wrapped around them? Okay. So you can see I've got the vast mountains in the distance. So I've got determiner, adjective, noun, preposition. So vast we said was a up-leveled version of big or huge, okay, or extensive. The grey rocks underfoot. So we might be walking on a little bit of ground that's a bit the snow might have melted. Then we've got some craggy some craggy peaks above me. So we said craggy meant it was uneven, rough, a little bit maybe crumbly. Peaks, we know, are the tops of the mountains, so they're above him, so he's still trying to reach them. And they're white coats, so remember we were using some personification to describe the snow as the mountain's coat that was wrapped around them. Okay, so your first task is, to write 5 expanded noun phrases about this image. So I want you to draw this with the 4 columns in your book, write determiner, adjective, noun, preposition, and then do me 5 expanded noun phrases, please. Okay, and then you are going to do the next task. So you can see here I have put some of the expanded noun phrases I have just created into a piece of text, and this is what you are going to do for your next task, okay? I'm not going to show you how to do this, but I've got this here, but I'm going to show you what I've included instead. So, the first thing we are going to pull out is the expanded noun phrases, okay? So we can see here I've got the vast mountains, so I've got an expanded noun phrase there. I've got an expanded noun phrase here, their white coats, so you remember that's one I've just written. I have got the grey rock, so I've got an expanded noun phrase there. Okay, and then some craggy peaks. I know I included that here. I've put in craggy peaks, but it could be in the craggy peaks. Okay, so I've got an expanded noun phrase there. Okay. Then I've got up-leveled vocabulary, so I've got clustered together. Okay. I've got a contraction, which is one of our Year 5 spelling standards. And then here, I've got an afterthought, okay, so it says, I imagine them to shiver under their white coats, the real cause of the avalanche, perhaps. So it's also like, almost like this man is thinking that, okay. So I've got some parenthesis. It's an afterthought, okay, it's giving me some extra information. And then I have got a compound sentence using the conjunction and. I've got burdensome, which means that it was tiring, difficult, okay. I've got an adverb. I've got a vocabulary up-leveled here. Okay, so you can see that I have used many of the Year 5 standards in my writing today. So you can see the vast mountains clustered together like they were cold, and all that snow, and under all that snow, I don't doubt they were. I imagine them to shiver under their white coats, the real cause of the avalanches, perhaps. The land at our feet was becoming more rocky with every step, and the incline was becoming increasingly burdensome. The grey rock broke the blue skyline in the craggy peaks. This meant we were nearing the top. Okay, so you can see I've used a range of the Year 5 standards in my writing to describe this image, which is exactly what I want you to do today. So, task 2, you need to describe the setting using the expanded noun phrases you have just written here. Okay, and we want you to include the Year 5 standards. Have a go at trying to get some personification in there. Sorry about that. Okay, if you need any help, please let us know, and we will try and help you the best we can.